Do you remember your first ever Sonic game? Do you remember that feeling of going fast and doing things that looked cool? Do you remember the feeling that you were playing as the coolest guy in the world? I sure do. Most people would say that their first Sonic game was either the classics from Sonic 1 to Sonic 3 and Knuckles. Others might say the adventure era, like Adventure 1, 2, or even Heroes. The younger generation might say games like Generations or Mania. Not me. I don't get the chance to have that experience. My first ever Sonic game is a rather unconventional one. One that you might go,
You serious?
and for that reason, this is a game I have some complex feelings. It's a game I know it's terrible, one of the worst in the series, no doubt. But it's a game I'm intimate with, having feelings of hate, sadness, love, and overall, completely mixed. And that game, of course, being Sonic and the Secret Rings. God, even saying that feels wrong, considering how I've been a fan for almost 20 years of this franchise, and I've played almost every game in the series since then. And with this video, you'll see I won't let nostalgia control me. I control the nostalgia. But before I talk about everything from this game, I think a history lesson is needed. I usually don't do this, but I feel like it's a must here. First of all, the game wasn't even gonna be called Secret Rings. It was gonna be called Sonic Wildfire, and even Hypersonic at one point, but future me will have to find a screenshot of that. I personally would have called it Sonic Wildfire. Sounds gooder to me. The development is so sad. If it wasn't for this game, Yuji Naka wouldn't have left mid-development for Secret Rings and basically f***ing over 06. All for nothing because this game wasn't much better. You could make an argument that it's worse than 06, just another reason why Yuji Naka is cringe. I recommend reading about the development for this game, it's pretty interesting. But enough about that, let's talk about Sonic and the Secret Donuts already. Usually I will start with the story because that's how analysis goes, but I actually want to start by talking about the minigames. I know, that's an odd thing to do, but just hear me out, okay? This is important for later on in the video. Did you ever want to play Mario Party with a bit of Sonic Shuffle thrown around? No? Me neither! Yet here we are. This mode is inoffensive, the minigames suck, but the boards are actually kinda creative. I feel like they could work if they polish them a bit more. You could actually say that for a lot of Sonic games. And here, you get to play as a couple of characters like Sonic, Tails, Knuckles, Amy, Shadow, Silver, Blaze, and Cream. You can play with motion controls, which unlike the Mario Party games, they are a nightmare. Or you can play with the nunchuck or the GameCube controller. Phew! It's good to know that I don't need to use motion controls here, nor the main game, because if I were only to use the good controls for the minigames, that would be the stupidest thing in the world and it would make me visibly upset and angry. On a side note, whenever I used to have people in my house, I would suggest if we tried out party mode for this game, because that was the only party game I had that wasn't Wii Sports. And when we played them, we stopped by the 10-minute mark. This is why I don't have any friends. Okay, let's actually discuss the story for real this time. Our story starts with Sonic sleeping in a house. Who's exactly? Don't know, don't care. He wakes up and picks up a ring, which a genie whose voice sounds exactly like Blaze comes out.
You are the blue hedgehog.
Turns out that genie is none other than Shara, the genie of the ring, like Robin Williams in Aladdin.
Don't think I've read that.
It's revealed that the world of the Arabian Nights are vanishing, all thanks to this guy called Eraser Jin. Get it? Because he's a genie that erases? do you get it?
Boo! You stink!
Shara wants Sonic to stop Eraser because if he doesn't, then he'll be unleashed into Sonic's world. Wait, say that again? How are we supposed to beat him if he's inside the book?
Bringing you into the world of the Arabian Nights is within my power.
Oh, that's definitely normal. Shara gives Sonic a ring and the contract has been sealed, basically trapping Sonic into marriage with her. Sonic wastes no time and wishes for a little bit of foreshadowing. There's no time to waste. Let's go to this world, the Arabian Nights. Here we go! As Sonic and Shara walk around the Lost Prologue, we get introduced to the main villain of the game, Eraser Jin. And honestly, he's kind of a mid-villain. At times, he sounds like he's over the top and entertaining and having so much fun, but other times, he sounds like he's bored out of his mind and doesn't want to be there. Case in point...
And then, with the 7 world rings...
7 world rings?
You have gathered the 7 world rings for me. Have you not, Shara, my dear?
Jin shoots a fireball of doom to Shara, but Sonic jumps in front of her, getting hit. That fire in his chest is basically a timer. If Sonic doesn't collect the 7 world rings, he dies. For real this time, not like in 06, he dies for real. Speaking of death, Eraser is also going to Eraser is also gonna kill King Shahryar, but because the game is called Sonic and the Secret Rings and not Eraser and the Secret Rings, we get to the palace first. It seems we're late, or not, because Shahryar's Eggman? Well, no. He may appear like Eggman, but it's actually the king. It's still better than Sonic Prime. Sadly, King Shahryar gets kidnapped by Eraser Jin, who is riding a pterodactyl. Already, this story is freaking insane. Along the way, we save our buddy Tails. But it's not actually Tails, it's Alibaba. It doesn't do much for the story until later on, but let's keep going. Believe it or not, this game suddenly becomes Resident Evil with the giant scorpion monster from the sand. I'm telling you, Sonic and the Secret Rings is a weird game. While that monster is there, Sonic and Shara get a moment to do a pinky promise. While that monster is there, Sonic and Shara get a moment to do a pinky promise that Sonic will have her smiling by the end of their adventure. I'm sorry, but it's so funny that before Sonic goes off to kill a giant scorpion, he starts doing a pinky promise like, okay, Mickey Mouse. After we defeat the scorpion, we get the first world ring, Yellow. And what happens after Sonic collects the ring? Nothing. He just starts feeling a little bit of pain. Just a sting. I guess that's one of the things we must accept as normal in this world, right? Considering neither Sonic or Shara addressed this, oh yeah, I almost forgot to mention that once Sonic collects the rings, he must be sacrificed. And that part was written at the very last second too?
I don't know about you boys.
But I have a feeling that Shara might be hiding something. Guess where we go to next? Guess where is our next destination? Go on, guess. A place filled with dinosaurs. Yeah, okay, I guess that's normal. And so, we save Shahryar in the most Sonic way possible. The king mentions that the pterodactyl went to an ancient castle. But before we go there, we find another one of the 7 world rings. I don't know how they work. At one point, we have to defeat a Resident Evil monster, and then another time, they're just thrown around like they're nothing. What are these, the Power Moons from Mario Odyssey? I also love how they keep ignoring the fact that every time Sonic grabs a ring, he feels this incredible pain. Like, okay brother. I will say, the way Shara says her next words does something to me.
Oh, Master, your wish is my command.
We reach the Evil Foundry and find Eraser Jin calling forth a Jin that controls fire called Ifrit. And you won't believe how this guy is powered up. Disclaimer, it's really stupid. Sonic tries to fight Ifrit, but like Shara said,
It's no use, Sonic!
Sonic uses Chaos Control and escapes. We go back to Alibaba, and he tells us to find Sinbad. Where is he? Well, he was kidnapped by a giant bird, or a giant fossil. Yep, now we're going to the skies to find Sinbad. This game is absolutely insane. We reached the skies, we found Knuckles, Sinbad. Sadly, he's kidnapped, so we must save him. Kinda funny how this game did Knuckles as a pirate before that bum-ass show, right? I mean, Secret Rings is better than Prime story-wise, so yeah. Anyways, let's go and save Sinbad. And the wisdom that Sinbad gives us is... splash water on Ifrit. Thanks, Sinbad. How did Alibaba get here? No clue. Turns out there's a blue ring that controls water. Yep, there's elements to the rings now. They keep changing the rules of how these things work. First, it's just colors. Now it's elements. What's next? Emotions?
Just touching it makes me feel like I've got a whirlpool of emotion spiraling around inside me.
Bruh.
It might even open the gates of hell.
And if you do drugs, you go to hell before you die.
Shara gives us a ball that's supposed to be a last resort, and Shara can't use it on her own. That's not suspicious at all, but it doesn't matter. Now we're fighting pirates. Wow, I can't believe Sega invented One Piece. Sonic fights against the captain and gets the blue ring. They imply that the rings might not be from this world and that's all the lore they'll get. But that doesn't make sense, because Sinbad is from this world, yet he can touch the ring. Does that imply that he isn't from that world either? That's kinda stupid. We go back to the evil foundry and defeat Ifrit with water bending. There's a ball that is ticking like a heart, and it's a bomb. Oh my god, I wonder what the bomb has that it's powerful enough to kill everything in sight. Oh, it's nothing. It just so happens to be one of the 7 world rings. Excuse me, doesn't Eraser need this? He's making a big deal about getting these rings. Yet here he is, giving one of those precious rings to one of the boss fights. Like they're f***ing crack. Do you want the rings or not? You're not making sense at all, Eraser. We go to our next destination, Skeleton Dome. Over there, we meet up with King Solomon. But we were already late. He was already dead. Wait, what? But we were too late. He was already dead. I mean, not really, since he's a skeleton. He tells us to help him get his body back. And while we do that, we find another one of the 7 world rings. A white one. It either feels like light or desire.
This little thing could cause so much trouble.
You mean the ring?
No, his shoes. Of course the ring! Shara sure is acting really suspicious. I wonder. Solomon tells us that we can find Eraser in the palace up in the sky, and by putting the world ring up to the gates, they will open. Let's do it, baby! Let's save the Arabian Nights! Woo! However, we do get a bit of foreshadowing.
I sense death approaching.
And so, Sonic suddenly remembers that he's about to die. And so, he reminds Shara about that pinky promise. The game makes it a big deal that Sonic could potentially die, but only when it's convenient. I feel like if the game had more urgency to Sonic's situation, this could be much better. Don't get me wrong, there's things I really like here, especially for Sonic's character, and I'll get into it in a bit, don't you worry. But in terms of story, it could have been done much better. And so, we find the final world ring. I don't know about you, but purple is the last color I think about for sadness. But Sonic asked the real questions. How does Shara and Eraser Jin know each other? And I feel like with the way she doesn't answer right away, I think you have a clear idea of what her relationship with Eraser is. Before we get into the backstory of Eraser Jin and everything that goes on in the 3rd act, I feel like we need to discuss Shara and Eraser's relationship. While it's not really confirmed or anything, it is heavily implied that Shara and Eraser were indeed a couple. And it's also implied that it was an abusive relationship. Now, I don't think I can make a joke about it. That's just fucking sad. And getting serious a bit, if you're a person that's been in an abusive relationship, just know that you are not alone. You can persevere. It's not easy for people to just leave a toxic relationship, and some may fall back to that place. It's important to be empathetic towards them, man or woman, and remember that you are not alone, and that it'll be okay. Now that we talked about that, back to the silly hedgehog story. Shara, please tell Eraser's backstory.
Yes. Well, you see, he's the genie of the magic lamp from the story of Aladdin.
Huh?
Long ago, he was punished for his misdeeds and sealed away in the lamp. He would not be forgiven until he had granted the wishes of 1,000 people. But when his sentence had been served, he had a renewed hatred of people. That was his fate, sad as it was. His cursed destiny came from the story he had been written into.
And so, we're going to fight Eraser for the final battle. And after we defeat Eraser, he flies off like a little pansy. Turns out that we need all the rings to open the door, and we have them here. So let's do it. Basically, yeah, if you don't have all the rings, you got the quote-unquote bad ending. You actually get credits after this. It's stupid, I know. Eraser is alive, because of course he is. And uh-oh, Shara betrayed us.
If I had a nickel for every time a purplish-haired girl betrayed us, I have 2 nickels. Which isn't a lot, but it's weird that it happened twice, right?
Shara gets overwhelmed and faints, while Eraser gets all of the rings. But you guys remember the foreshadowing, right?
I sense death approaching.
Shara!
Shara knew what would happen, and even then, despite everything, Sonic forgives her and tells her that it isn't her fault. And I also can't really blame her. She was manipulated into doing Eraser's dirty work, but at the very least, she's at peace and dies in Sonic's arms. But that's not all! You thought that was all? Technically, that was a sacrifice, but because it wasn't the collector of the rings, the transformation isn't complete. And so, Eraser becomes an opera singer for some reason. But because Sonic is feeling so many emotions, some rings fly out of Eraser, and Sonic transforms into Darkspine Sonic. In here, Sonic talks like both the Werehog and Jet, which is kind of odd, but damn it, it's so cool the way he manhandles Eraser. However, Eraser wasn't defeated. He is immortal after all. But here, Eraser gets debated, and Sonic shows him the lamp. Turns out that the ball Shara gave Sonic is the lamp. Don't know how that works, but okay. And so, Sonic says that Eraser's Jordans are fake and shoots him in the heart, bringing Shara back to life. Sonic then tells Eraser that he has no maidens, and returns the stories to how they were. Boom! Get shot in the heart, you bitch! And Sonic tells Eraser he hasn't thought about buying Spotify Premium. Boom! And Eraser tries to desperately manipulate Shara into saving him, and Sonic gives him a look of disappointment. Not anger, nor happiness that he's done for, but utter disgust and disappointment. And once Eraser goes back to the lamp, Sonic tells that bitch.
I told you, I'm not a rat! I'm a hedgehog!
Sonic asks for one last wish, and that's for a mountain of handkerchiefs. That sure is a way to end a story about a blue hedgehog where he has a fireball in his chest where if it burns out he will die, and he has to find 7 donuts to save the world of a book, all while helping this woman who was in an abusive relationship with evil Robin Williams. And despite how insane and stupid the story is at times, I honestly kinda like it. It's not great, hell, it's not even good, but it held my attention, and I had stupid fun at times with Sonic's dialogue. It can be corny, but in an endearing way, and also Darkspine Sonic goes hard. Now, what I've been dreading for... everything. Okay, not everything, because believe it or not, there's a couple of things I like from this game. For example, I'm a big fan of how Sonic is depicted in this game, either being in the story or the stages. He sounds like a little shitter and is always having fun. What's funny about this is that Sonic is literally at death's door while basically going wahoo and yippee! It's honestly really fun. Another thing that I like is the dynamic between Sonic and Shara. In the cutscenes, it's really corny, but in the stages, they are honestly pretty fun. I like their back and forth, Sonic doing some crazy shit, only for Shara to have a heart attack. It can be kind of funny at times. Another thing I really like from this game, the level themes. Honestly, they're pretty cool. My favorite being Levitated Ruin. Running on living fossils and also a track that is created while we run is pretty badass. I like Dinosaur Jungle, even if the levels and the song are not good. Wait, things I like. Night Palace is cool as shit. I really like mounting the magic carpet. Like, come on, that's so cool. And if you search on YouTube, Mustard Thrown Away, the song that plays in this level shows up. And I'm not kidding. I like Darkspine Sonic. He looks cool as shit. I love how he beats the shit out of Alf Layla Wa Layla. And overall, how powerful he is. Plus, his lines of dialogue are pretty cool at times, even if it's a little cheesy.
Your tale is finished, Eraser! Next time, try writing a better story!
Some songs are actually kind of good. High and Broken is so good. One of the most underrated pieces of music in the series. Evil Foundry gave us Kabarnomani 456 theme song, so that's cool. And shit, I guess that's it. This is kind of awkward. Let's talk about everything else. Sonic and the Secret Rings, for how well it does some stuff, it fails spectacularly in the most important thing, and that being, of course, the gameplay. Do you like Sonic Dash? A game where Sonic doesn't stop running for whatever reason, and you can go as far as you can? Yeah? Did you ever wanted to know what it would be like to have a game like that, but for home consoles, and with motion controls, and with actual level design? No? Well, too bad! Sonic and the Secret Rings is the game for you! How do you control Sonic? You tilt the control right and left to move Sonic. How do you homing attack? You shake the Wii remote. How do you move backwards? You tilt the controls towards you. How do you jump? Actually, you press the 2 button. Phew, thank God. I would have lost my mind if I also had to jump IRL. New to Sonic's arsenal is the Speed Break and Time Break. You defeat enemies to fill up the bar on the right. By pressing up on the D-pad, Sonic will go at astronomical speeds and be invincible, unless you fall off a bottomless pit or get hit by spikes. Technically, this was the first 3D Sonic game to have the boost. Take that, Sonic Unleashed. God, I feel dirty saying that. And Time Break. You press down on the D-pad and you'll slow down time. Basically Chaos Control if Chaos Control sucked. Actually, all things considered, it's actually pretty useful, especially for some bosses like Eraser Jin, and especially the final boss. These two abilities are fine and dandy. I mean, Time Break was brought back for Sonic Generations for a reason. Speaking of fine, the level design ain't the worst thing in the world. I feel like they're pretty fun for a mobile game. Yeah, I don't know if you could tell, but Sonic is on auto rail through the whole adventure. Sonic will not stop running, no matter what, unless you keep the one button pressed and he won't stop running there. Now, this isn't like Sonic Unleashed, where you can control Sonic freely with no limitations. In this game, Sonic will literally not stop. Before I get there, how are the missions structured? Yes, I said missions. And no, they're not side missions or anything, they're the main missions of the game. As you play the game, you'll unlock more missions. The main problem with them is that the game doesn't tell you what mission from what world you unlocked. For example, let's say I'm doing an Immortal challenge in Dinosaur Jungle, and once I'm done with that, it unlocks a new mission on Pirate Storm! And that's Sonic and the Secret Rings. Hell, there are some missions you need to do so you can get one of the world rings, and the game doesn't do a good job explaining that to you. Yep, every world that doesn't have a boss fight, Dinosaur Jungle, Levitated Ruin, and Skeleton Dome don't have bosses, so you have to do a random mission every time to get the rings. Yes, it's as stupid as it sounds. Another example of this is when you beat the first level in Evil Foundry. The game tells you that there's a new mission available, but it doesn't tell you where it is. So you have to go back to Sand Oasis to raise a fairy so you can continue the story. How was I supposed to know that? How was Little Mean supposed to know that? Another thing that you can do in this game is level up Sonic. The more you level up, the more skills you can get for him, like running faster, or a stronger homing attack, or good controls. Oh boy, it's time we talked about that. Sonic and the Secret Rings has one of the worst controls I have ever had the displeasure to play in a video game. But it's all good, right? Because I at least can use the nunchuck and the GameCube controller for this game, right? I mean, I can use them for the party games, so there's no reason why I can't use them in the main one, right? Right, guys, right? I'm gonna crash out. What the f were they thinking? Are you seriously telling me I can use actual controllers in the game, but not for the main adventure? Who thought this was a good idea? Who was the one that said, yes, let's have the player use the nunchuck and GameCube controller, but only for the mini-games. And while we're at it, we won't tell the player that you can do that. Aren't we the best? Seriously, I hope that whoever came up with that idea was fired, because to this day, I consider this to be the stupidest thing in the entire game, let alone the franchise. What's good of decent level design and interesting level themes when I can't even play it like a normal game? Even games like Sonic 06 and even Sonic Boom controls like normal games. And you know you f***ed up when I'm saying those two games are better than you. You know who I blame for all of this? Yuji Naka deciding to leave mid-development for 06 to work on this game, leaving that game for dead, and then with Secret Rings having it be even worse somehow. 18 years later, and I have yet to move on from how ass this game is. Child me was stupid for thinking this was a good game in the first place. So much wasted potential because Sega has been doing Sonic dirty ever since Sonic 06. Every day I wake up and I hope Sega's dead. Dead like, if I can guarantee somebody amigo will be okay, I hope Sega goes bankrupt and it gets bought by Nintendo and dies. I'm sorry. God. Sonic and the Secret Rings is an interesting game. It's really got some really cool stuff. Level themes are awesome. Sonic as a character rocks in this game. And it's a decent story, all things considered. But the one major thing that it should work doesn't. Sonic and the Secret Rings was so close to being a decent game. Hell, maybe even good. But in the end, it fell short due to how shitty the controls are. Yet, despite all that, I can't see myself to hate it. And there's multiple reasons why. It introduced me to the series, so that's one. It was the first time I saw you could tell a story outside of a movie or show. And Levitated Ruin was epic. It's a 3 out of 10 game, but it's a 3 out of 10 that I'm intimate with. In terms of gameplay, it is one of the worst in the series, bar none. But I still can't hate it, or at least not hate it as much as everyone. I wish we got a remaster in the future to fix these controls up, because its ideas deserve to be in a game where the controls are at the very least decent. But hey, all we can do is hope. I'm Sean Tehonk, and I'll see you in the next one. Sayonara.